Again with the shield, up. Lose once, lose your sponsorship, and maybe your head.
My fighter's trending in the forum this week.
They didn't fight to the death every time, and some were celebrities richer than Roman senators. Welcome to Rome's
When you think of Roman gladiators, what pops into your mind? Blood, sweat, sand, and death at every swing.
Not every fight ends in blood.
Hollywood sure loves that image. From Gladiator to Spartacus,
Move that sand.
we've been sold
Faster.
a world where every duel ended in a dramatic,
Let's go.
gory finale. But here's the shocking truth. The death toll wasn't nearly that high. Most fights were carefully choreographed entertainment, designed to thrill the crowd without bankrupting the lanista, the trainer-owner in charge.
Don't poke me in the eye, please.
Killing a gladiator was bad for business, plain and simple. Gladiators were expensive investments, often slaves or prisoners, but trained to perform, survive, and keep the audience on the edge of their seats. Picture it. Rome's version of a reality TV star, but with swords. Sometimes the crowd's roar determined mercy, sometimes the emperor's thumb, and occasionally, yes, someone's head did roll. But far more often than Hollywood would have you believe, it was skill, spectacle, and showmanship, not constant carnage.
Spare him. He is worth more alive.
So buckle up. Let's strip away the Hollywood hype, wade through the sand, and see what gladiator life really looked like. Gritty, political, and sometimes, surprisingly, entertaining.
Entertainment is survival.
The Roman gladiator wasn't just a killer. He was an investment portfolio on two legs.
Strike with pow. Again. Again.
Behind every swing of the sword was a bookkeeper counting profits.
Strike hard, man.
Welcome
Keep
to the
your guard
Ludus, the gladiator school, half gym, half prison, and entirely about business.
2 new recruits. Hope they last longer than the last ones.
A lanista, the owner-trainer, bought men like livestock, trained them like athletes, and leased them out to fight. Some lanistae grew rich enough to rival senators, though no one invited them to dinner.
Better food than I had as a free man. Indeed.
Respectable Romans considered the trade infamous,
This will help with the pain.
but everyone loved the profits. Inside the Ludus, men lived by strict contracts, food, lodging, and the promise of fame, balanced against the risk of dying for entertainment. Gladiators had managers, doctors, even personal brands. A Murmillo with a good win record could be rented out for enormous sums, because a known name filled
Watch your
seats.
footing.
Weapons were inspected, matchups negotiated, and injuries recorded in wax tablets like modern sports stats. And yes, even the emperor's approval could skyrocket a fighter's value overnight. It wasn't chaos. It was organized brutality, Rome's blood economy. Every drop spilled in the sand had a price tag, and the lanista made sure the blood kept flowing, but not too much.
10 denarii on the Thracian.
Tomorrow, I make my name.
After all, no businessman kills his best asset. So the next time Hollywood shows a gladiator screaming, "Are you not entertained?" remember, somewhere off-screen, an accountant was definitely saying, "I hope this fight's tax-deductible."
In Rome, glory had a price.
He looked right at me.
For a man trained to die for sport, fame could be the only real victory. By the 1st century CE, gladiators weren't just killers in sand, they were Rome's celebrities.
Welcome, esteemed patron, to the finest collection of Roman treasures.
Make it out to Aurelia with love.
Their faces appeared on mosaics, pottery, even oil lamps. They had fan clubs, endorsements, and groupies who carved their names on walls. Imagine walking down a Roman street and seeing graffiti saying, "Crescens, the heartthrob of Pompeii."
Murmillo could crush a Thracian any day.
Women threw flowers, and occasionally themselves, at their favorite fighters. To some, the arena was less about death and more about desire.
He'll fall before the third strike.
Gladiators were living contradictions, adored by the masses, despised by the elites. Roman senators publicly condemned them as slaves, but privately hired them for dinner parties. The irony? The same men who called them barbaric bet fortunes on their next victory.
Free, but empty.
And fame had perks. A champion could earn freedom. The rudis, a wooden sword symbolizing release. Some used it to retire in comfort. Others chose to stay.
The sand is my home.
The roar of the crowd was addictive, louder than freedom itself. Think of it, a society obsessed with blood and fame, where survival was performance and applause meant everything. If gladiators lived today, they'd probably be influencers with sword sponsorships and scandalous fan accounts. But beneath all the glamour, the truth remained brutal. Every hero of the arena was one bad match away from oblivion. Fame gave them immortality, but it also made their deaths a public event.
Fame
And-
feeds everyone.
If the arena was a stage, the emperor was its producer, and the Roman crowd, his audience of millions.
Games in honor of our eternal emperor.
Every drop of blood that hit the sand was part of a larger performance. Politics.
Grand Games, sponsored by the Emperor.
Cheaper than a revolt.
Bread and circuses. Panem et circenses. The most successful campaign slogan in history.
Citizens of Rome, I present to you.
Give the people food. Give them games. And they'll stop asking questions about taxes, wars, or corruption. When emperors faced scandal, rebellion, or empty treasuries, they opened the gates of the Colosseum. Nothing silenced anger like a new round of free entertainment. The roar of 50,000 spectators could drown out the sound of protest.
Look at that.
The crowd thought it was cheering for glory. The emperor knew it was cheering for control. Games became instruments of propaganda.
Long live the Emperor!
Generals paraded captives before execution.
A fine distraction, eh?
Senators sponsored fights to win votes, and emperors staged exotic spectacles. Lions, elephants, even mock naval battles, all to prove that Rome's power was limitless. And in that sandpit, politics, blood, and spectacle fused into a single message. Rome rules. Rome provides.
The taxes are too high.
We can barely survive.
They're taking everything.
We barely have enough to eat.
Rome decides. It was state-sponsored hypnosis, a ritual of distraction so effective that even today we still replay it, just with better seating and popcorn. For nearly 7 centuries, the roar of the arena echoed through Rome, a heartbeat of empire measured in blood and applause.
This cannot continue. The games will bankrupt us all.
The crowd doesn't cheer for me when I'm broke.
But even the greatest spectacles eventually go silent. The decline began quietly. As the empire grew weary and broke under its own weight, the cost of blood became harder to justify.
For the kingdom of heaven is at hand.
The lavish games that once celebrated conquest began to feel like reminders of decay. The same senators who once financed 100 fights now struggled to fund their own armies. Christianity's rise changed everything. A religion that preached compassion and the sanctity of life didn't exactly vibe with afternoon executions.
By imperial decree, the gladiatorial games are abolished.
By the 4th century, the moral tide had shifted. And for the first time, people began asking an unthinkable question. Should humans really kill each other for fun? In 404 AD, it finally ended. A monk named Telemachus leapt into the arena to stop a fight, and the crowd stoned him to death. The emperor, Honorius, horrified, outlawed the games soon after. Rome's last gladiators sheathed their swords, not in defeat, but in extinction. But echoes remain. In every stadium, every ring, every modern obsession with spectacle and violence, the spirit of the arena lives on. We may not watch men die anymore, but we still love to see them fall.
Empires fall, but human nature doesn't. We still crave the spectacle, just with better seats.
The Colosseum may be silent now, but in spirit, it never really closed.
They were as famous as emperors, and as loved as gods.
Because what were the gladiators, if not the world's first global celebrities?
Step right up, finest olive oil.
Men and women whose fame transcended class, language, and empire. People who became brands before branding existed.
Let them have games, Veviewed. It keeps
And
them
what are
quiet.
today's sports leagues, fight nights, or viral stars, if not echoes of that same ancient hunger to witness courage, beauty, and pain in motion? Every roaring stadium, every flashing camera, every chant of a crowd is a descendant of Rome's amphitheater. The costumes changed. The instinct didn't. Humanity still loves to watch its heroes tested, bruised, and glorified. But there's a deeper lesson, too. Rome's games were a mirror of its soul. The spectacle distracted people from the cracks in their empire.
Fame feeds the crowd now time ribbon, not blood.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bread and circuses, the politicians called it. Keep the crowds entertained and they won't ask questions.
The arena's true power was never the fighters. It was the crowd.
Sound familiar? Whether it's sports, streaming, or politics, we still live in the shadow of those marble arenas. Our spectacles may no longer end in blood, but they still trade in attention, outrage, and emotion. The modern gladiator doesn't wield a sword. He wields a microphone, a ball, or a camera. So the next time you watch a player rise, a fighter fall, or a crowd erupt in wild devotion, remember this. The sand beneath their feet may have changed, but the arena never left us. It just got Wi-Fi.
Humanity never stopped watching. We just changed the stage.